in Islam, Allah is alone. Allah doesn't pray to nobody.
No, he's not. He's not alone. You're lying to me again.
Yes, we believe in oneness of Allah. That's it.
No, you
know
don't. Okay, is the Quran created or uncreated? But see, when this is why I cut you off, because you think, because you keep lying, or you're. I'll be compassionate. You're ignorant. You don't know Islam. I'll do that. You're dumb. You don't know Islam. Someone help you learn. The Quran is created or uncreated?
I tell you what, Sam. Yeah, I want a debate where me and you can have a time to speak. Just me and you.
Bob, I would rather debate the dog in my neighborhood than debate something. You're a waste of time. Bob, answer.
Right.
Well, answer the question. The Quran created or uncreated?
Well, the book.
Al-Ghazali, in his book Ihya Ulumuddin, clearly states that the Qur'an is the word of Allah and not a created being. If something is not created, it must either be a part of Allah or possess divine attributes. However, at the same time, Muslims also acknowledge that the Qur'an exists in the form of a mushaf, a physical book that can be touched, read, and even burned. This is where a serious theological contradiction arises. If the Quran is not created yet exists in a physical form, then there are two things that are uncreated, Allah and the Quran. In Islam, which strongly emphasizes Tawhid, the absolute oneness of Allah, this becomes a significant problem. If something other than Allah is also eternal and uncreated, then it means there is another entity with divine attributes besides Allah. Does this not lead to a form of hidden shirk, associating partners with Allah?
The book, hang on. Yes, I'm answering, mate. Let me finish, please.
The Quran, not the pages, dude.
Okay, but I'm answering. Let me answer then.
Good. Don't be upset.
Okay, brilliant. Sam, I want to answer in my own way, okay?
Go ahead. Before the rapture.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, thank you. Okay. Allah's words, yeah, are uncreated, okay? But the Holy Quran, which is...
Wait, I want to hear it. Say it again.
Allah's words are uncreated because they come from
Good.
Okay? Now, the Holy Quran, the book that we have, it's actually created because it's a book.
Bob, before you call me book, can you show me where the Quran calls itself the Holy Quran?
Well, there is some verses in the Quran where the Quran calls itself the Quran.
Call itself holy. It doesn't call itself holy, so don't use that term. But go ahead now. I just want to correct your mistakes again. Go ahead.
Yeah, but Sam, it is holy because it is the word of Allah. We don't need it to be there.
No,
holy.
You don't add to the Quran. That's bid'ah, innovation. The Quran doesn't call itself holy.
It's not a bid'ah because we know Allah's word is holy.
Okay, well, you got busted. Get to the book part.
Okay, yeah. You keep interrupting me. Let me speak, please.
Because I got to correct your mistakes, Bob, because I'm going to forget. You talk too much, I'm going to forget. Okay, it's a book. Go ahead, yeah?
Okay, brilliant. Yeah, so I've answered the question. I said Allah's words are not created, but the Holy Quran, the book itself that we wrote down on, it's created because it's a book.
Okay, wait, Bob, I love you, man. You're my favorite Muslim. I'll have you come back on my channel. So you just said the words of Allah are uncreated. So the Quran,
uncreated. The words of Allah.
Bob, pretend to be listening. That's what I just said.
Okay.
So the words, the Quran as words, uncreated, but the book is created, right?
Yes, because it's a book, right? Yeah, it's a book.
How many natures does it have? How many natures does it have? How many natures does it have now, according to you?
What do you mean nature in sense? Can you elaborate, please?
Said the Quran as words is uncreated, but the book is created. So there is a part created and a part uncreated. How many natures? Well, yeah.
Muslims often accuse the Christian doctrine of Jesus as the eternal Word of God incarnate in human form of being a form of polytheism. However, if they themselves believe that the Word of God can exist in two forms, eternal as the uncreated Word and limited as a created book, then why do they reject the same concept in Jesus? This reality reveals that Islam indirectly holds a concept of two entities that are both eternal. If they continue to insist that the Qur'an is eternal and uncreated, they must face the consequence that they actually believe in two eternal beings besides Allah, something that directly contradicts their doctrine of Tawhid. Thus, Muslims find themselves in a major dilemma. If they wish to avoid shirk, associating partners with Allah, they must acknowledge that the Qur'an is created. But if they continue to insist that the Qur'an is not created, then they have unknowingly placed something other than Allah in a divine status. This is a fundamental contradiction in Islamic theology that is difficult to resolve without undermining the very concept of Tawhid itself. Muslims always emphasize the humanity of Jesus while ignoring his divinity. But if we apply the same logic, Why do Muslims not focus only on the physical mushaf, the written Qur'an, and ignore its eternal nature? Why do they allow the Qur'an to have two aspects, eternal and created, but reject that Jesus can have two natures, divine and human? This is a major inconsistency in Islamic theology. If Muslims insist that the Word of God cannot become human, then they must also reject the idea that the Word of God can take the form of a physical book. If they continue to accept that the Quran has two aspects, then logically they must also accept that Jesus can have two natures.
Well, yeah, because the book itself is written down by human beings. So the book, I'm talking about the book.
Right?
I'm talking about the book, yeah, the book.
Yeah, the kitab, right?
Yes, that's right, the kitab,
And
yeah.
the Quran is a kitab, right?
Sorry?
The Quran is a kitab, so that's physical material, right?
Yeah, that's right, yeah, the book,
How
yeah.
many natures does the Quran have?
How many natures?
Yeah.
Are you aware the Quran was revealed in the recitation form?
And you want me to debate you? Like I said, I'll have a better time debating my dog than you. That's two natures.
No, but Sam, what you do is, yeah, you ask questions. You don't allow us to ask questions.
No,
this is what I want to debate you face to face.
Patty cake. I'm here to demolish your religion so you can wake up. So don't play that game. Two natures, uncreated, created. You just said there are two natures, but you're not listening. It's uncreated and created. The physical part is created, but the word's uncreated. That's two natures, Bob.
Jesus Christ is the Word of God who descended, nuzul, in the form of a human. In this sense, it is comparable to the Islamic understanding in which the Qur'an, as the Word of God, has both a created and an uncreated nature. Similarly, in the Christian faith, Jesus Christ, as the Word of God made flesh, possesses both a created nature as true man and an uncreated nature as eternal and pre-existent, azali. Only God is eternal and uncreated, and as we have discussed, the Word of God is not the same as God the Father, yet it is not different from God either. It is of the same essence as the Father. Thus, the eternal nature of Jesus as the divine Word is called God, meaning he has existed eternally and is inseparably, koima, one, with the essence of the one true God, the Father. Therefore, when Christians say God became man, it means that the Word of God, which has hypostasis and possesses the divine attribute of eternity, has descended, nuzul, as a human. It was not the one true God, the Father, who became human, but rather his Word, theologically referred to as the Son, that was sent down to the earth. If in Islam there exists the concept of God's attributes, zatullah, such as the Word, kalimat, the light of Muhammad, Nur Muhammad, and the Qur'an, three distinct realities, then in the Christian faith, these functions are all encompassed in one entity, the Logos, which ultimately became human in Jesus Christ. This is the true understanding of the Christian faith. Since the Bible states, the Word was God, John 1:1, and the Word became flesh, John 1:14. Christians often summarize this by saying, God became man. However, what is actually meant is that the Word of God has descended, nuzul, and taken on flesh, that is, Jesus Christ. Since flesh in Latin is carnus, the process of becoming flesh is called incarnatio, or incarnation. However, this should not be confused with reincarnation, which is a Hindu-Buddhist doctrine of rebirth, where a person is born again as another human after death. The doctrine of reincarnation is not accepted in the Christian faith.